We begin this morning in the Middle East, where as of 2 hours ago, a ceasefire is now in effect, increasing hopes that after more than 2 years of conflict, the war in Gaza may finally be coming to an end. Israel's government overnight approved phase 1 of President Trump's peace plan, which will see the release of all hostages being held in Gaza by Hamas in exchange for Palestinian prisoners held by Israel, and staged withdrawal of Israeli forces to an agreed-upon line. CBS News reporter Haley Ott is following this for us from Tel Aviv and joins us once again. Haley, good morning. This ceasefire just came into effect in the past 2 hours, so how does it appear to be holding?
Good morning, Errol. And I just want to let you know we're here in Hostage Square where people are gathering. It's coming up to the Friday Shabbat holiday, and they've started playing some music. So that's what you may hear going on around us. About that ceasefire, there had been some confusion about when it was actually due to come into effect. The government here initially said it started last night after that Israeli government vote, but the Israeli military this morning has now clarified that it came into effect at noon local time, which, as you said, was about 2 hours ago. We heard from our colleagues in Gaza this morning that there were still IDF attacks earlier today. Before 2 hours ago, health officials in Gaza reported that at least 8 people had been killed today. But now we're hearing things are quiet. People in Gaza appear to be able to move back towards Gaza City using certain routes they hadn't been before. People have been warned to avoid certain areas and not approach Israeli troops because it could be dangerous. But they've also been told not to enter the water. But so far, things appear to be holding.
And we have been here a few times before in which there is a ceasefire, an exchange and release of hostages, and things fall apart. So as far as this deal is concerned, when will the next piece of phase 1 hit, and what will then trigger phase 2?
Yeah, so we're currently in a window of a number of deadlines. What's happening now that phase 1 has been approved by the Israeli government is that Israel is withdrawing to a defined line within Gaza. They have a 24-hour window to do that. And there's also a 72-hour clock that's starting for Hamas to release the hostages. President Trump has said he expects those hostages to be released Monday or Tuesday. We know the president himself is expected to visit the region in the coming days. We also expect the flow of humanitarian aid into Gaza to increase. We know the UN has been standing by with tons and tons of aid at the border ready to go as soon as they're allowed. And as you said, this is phase 1 of the deal, but that is the phase that everyone is focusing on right now and trying to get over the finish line. There is that 20-point White House peace proposal this phase 1 doesn't include many of the provisions in that proposal, which are much more complicated in this region, like how Hamas will disarm, whether it will continue to play any part in Palestinian politics, and who will eventually govern Gaza. But all of that will come later. For now, the people here in Israel and in Gaza are relieved that this deal appears to be working.
Yeah, and I can see that sense of excitement building into the weekend there in Hostage Square, specifically in anticipation of the release of the surviving hostages. Haley Ott, thank you so much.